feeling good?
Good.
I'm feeling good. I'm glad you're here with me. Oh boy, okay, here we go. Woo! Ha ha! Late Ill Kid at OneYoungsta holding it down, bringing that StreetGeek and NERDSoul. What is up, my people? Today, all year, coming with another wonderful episode of BlackTogether. I am joined to my left by the awesome, the amazing Lady Lisa. Say what's up.
Hey, y'all.
It's good to have you here. Last week, we debuted this. I had a lot of fun talking about relationships, talking about standards, talking about, you know, how to pick your mate, dating and courtship and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And this week we got a couple of things. We're going to talk about Father's Day. You know what I'm saying? We're going to talk about defining your roles, either in relationships or in marriage. But then also a little stuff with B. Simone, a little touch of B. Simone, because we talked that out and we're like some interesting things.
Yeah.
But you wanted to start off with Father's Day.
Yes, I wanted to start off first and foremost to tell you Happy Father's Day.
Why, thank you.
Thank you for being a
else.
fantastic father to Mikey, a great role model, and all that good stuff.
I try.
and happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Happy
all y'all
fathers. Yeah.
Doing y'all fatherly things.
All you deedies.
My deedy. This my deedy.
You be deedies.
My deedy. You ain't my deedy. Oh man, love all y'all out there doing y'all thing. Big shout out to Panda. Yo, I got your message, so I'll hit you back. It's just I was about to stream and all that. But what up, Panda? Nice to see you. So we've seen the same messages that we normally see around this time for Father's Day. If you could, there's someone's message that you read for me this morning. I don't want to say who it was, but could you read that message, or I'll fill in a little bit, give a little background.
I was just reading.
So pull that up. Usually around this time, we get a lot of posts, and I try to tell men up front, what up, Jamal Lee, what up? I try to tell people up front, hey, look, I know you're going to see certain messages out there from a certain community, a certain contingent of people, but let it slide. Let it roll off your back. Do not respond. Do not engage. It's not worth it. Just enjoy your Father's Day. Okay. But you know someone who put up a message. Please read that message.
This is posted by my sister cousin. And she stated this very well.
Okay.
And I will say she is a single mother. Okay.
Single mother.
She said,
single mother.
Yes.
As well.
Yes.
Right.
She said, ladies, we are not fathers. Raising your child alone does not make you a father. It makes you a mother. To say that you are the father diminishes the broken heart of a child's experience not having both parents, and implies God didn't know what he was doing to bring two beings together for creation. We celebrated you last month, so take a seat. Thanks. Hashtag, I don't care if you get mad.
Okay. Well, with that said, I guess I'll leave that at that. But I'll just say this. I know there's a lot of times even on Twitter this morning, I saw Mother's Day trending. I know sometimes it gets to you, it burns you up because it's like, dude, we got one day. You know what I'm saying? Let it slide. Just let it slide. Do not fight it. It's not worth arguing. It's not worth your energy. Enjoy your time. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy your time with your kids. Just enjoy your time with your kids, or get some rest or something, and just chill. It's not worth fighting it out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Tumblr, I don't know, wherever, Friendster, MySpace, wherever you're going to be fighting it. Some
MySpace.
OK player boards.
Is that inside or outside?
That's outside. That's outside. So
okay.
We don't worry about that. So we're putting that to rest. Happy Father's Day, all the fathers out there. Love all y'all. Keep killing it. You know, giving piggyback rides and all that mess, and you know, discipline how you need to discipline.
And telling people to sit down.
Because that's one thing. That's one thing we can do. Sit down. Sit down or also don't make me get up. And then sometimes you have to fake like you're gonna get up, because then you get.
Oh yeah.
So that's the deal sometimes. Daddies, we got to do that. So to get into our real thing, the meat of our episode today, I wanted to, before that, I wanted to give a shout out. Usually, I haven't done my shout outs in a while. Shout outs to Blurtish, they're doing a thing. Shout out to Bic Distro, which is BICDISTRO. They're a distribution company for Black indie comics. Check them out. Big shout out to Thought Crimes out there doing their thing. They're crushing it and killing it. Big shouts to them. Arcatron has the Space Bridge in stores. And while High Sign has Fleece in stores. So much love to y'all. Big shout out to them. And also big shout out to people in the chat. We got Panda in here, Jamal Lee in here. Last week we had Lotus Scala and I think Tay 2020. But we had some folks come through. So it's good to see y'all. So you wanted to get into defining the roles of your relationship, in your relationship and your marriage. How did you want to start with that?
Well, quite honestly, I don't know if defining roles in a dating relationship or even a courtship is as important. Courtship, maybe so. I think talking about them in a courtship is very important. But, honestly, in my opinion, defining roles and putting them into action doesn't really happen until marriage.
Okay.
Because that's when you have really joined your life together and you're actually going through life and have a household and whatnot together. If you're a couple that has chosen to live together, that may be a different story. Yeah. You will, in my opinion,
that's slightly different.
Yeah, I don't really want to get too much into that because
it can get messy and
stuff. In my opinion, that's just not, yeah, we just gonna skip that.
That's not her way. That's not my way. I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, that's just our personal opinion.
For many negative reasons that won't show up immediately, but can show up 6 months to a year to whatever down the line.
That's just our opinions. But so
the funds.
Yeah. So yeah, we're not gonna get into that. Yeah. But I think during courtship is when you really should get into talking about what you expect from each other in the marriage, in the relationship. Are you both going to work? Are you going to share expenses in the household? Who is responsible for taking care of the household in terms of cooking and cleaning? Are you going to share that? Do you want kids? That should very much be talked about. Do you want kids? Is it going to be more of a traditional household in terms of, mom stays home, dad goes to work, mom takes care of the kids in the house, or, both of you going to be working. You share the responsibilities. One person doesn't like to cook, so you're not the cook in the house. So, all of those things are important. Some people like to say, well, we'll just figure it out. That's, to me, it can work. It can work, but that's just kind of asking for conflict.
Kicking the can down the road usually isn't a good idea for any type of planning.
Yeah.
I did want to shout out Panda real quick. Said, I never understood the idea of a single mother being both a mother and father. I'm like, be a mother. That's it. If you're concerned, find a healthy adult male role model for your kids.
Yeah.
And I did want to get into, because there were a couple of things that we kind of came together or even butted heads about with roles in the home. What I wanted to talk about, because we're really on this about homeschooling, taking your kids out of that system, out of the probably the very first system of systemic racism that your child will experience, and taking them out. And I remember you were gung-ho about homeschooling.
Yes. Because
we had already decided, if you missed last week, we were courting, and there was a certain point when I said, look, I want to be married. I want to have a kid. I want to have a family. This is what I want. So we kind of knew where each other were at right there. But then when it comes to education, we didn't know. And we kept going back and forth. We had this long drawn for probably like for months.
Yeah, because we talked about, private school and Christian school and letting our child decide what they wanted to do.
Or even public school and stuff like that. And I would always, from my perspective, I was always of the mind that, and I know I'm sorry, I'm just part of society. There's still parts of that bleed in. I want my son to be, when you're in public school, sometimes they toughen you up a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Just don't say what you said. You didn't want him to be a punk.
I didn't want him to be soft. I didn't want him to be soft. And when you're in public school, you're gonna have to deal with bullies and stuff like that. And then my son would get used to that. And then also, I do think there's a value to children being in positions where they have to utilize the knowledge and the teaching that their parents gave them when their parents aren't around. But from going back and forth, pros and cons, also seeing, of course, everything that you guys are seeing online with children, especially black children, getting beat up for no reason, getting arrested, getting left at the school,
getting mistreated by teachers, all kinds of things. And then also in an environment where other children are negatively impacting our child and that child bringing things back home. So with those things, over months, we went back and forth. This is before we had Low Mic. Way before we had Low Mic.
Way before NERDSoulite came into the house. But we went back and forth a lot because I was just so hardcore about like, my boy needs to, I don't want my boy to be soft. I want my boy to be out there. But in thinking that way, I had to also remember and realize that at such a young age, and when I say young age, I'm talking about 4, 5, 6, at those ages, throwing your child out there to people they don't know, when you have the ability to raise them and teach them at home, and then also teach them things that school will not teach them, and also instill the values that you want in them instead of your child carrying on the values of other children. There's a value to that. And that was one of those things where you decided like, I wanted to be homeschooled. I was like, no, public school. You got to be out there in the streets. But you continue, and we had a dialogue, and it wasn't like we were throwing pots and pans at each other, but it was serious discussions like, this is why I don't want my child to be like, and then she was like, yes, but I don't want him to be exposed to this. And we had a continuous debate that wasn't demeaning to one another. You know what I'm saying? Or we weren't fighting really, but it was more
we kind of listened.
Yeah. No, you're good.
Oh. We kind of listened to each other's concerns and whatnot, and I think if I remember right, I was telling you that, just because he's homeschooled doesn't mean he won't have interactions with other children and that he won't be in social settings. I think that's probably one of the biggest misconceptions about homeschooling. And honestly, I used to have that misconception about homeschooling too, is that, what about socializing the kids? And anybody who I would chat with that homeschool would always laugh and say they interact with other kids. It's like you're not like
there's
holding them.
They're not stuff that they go to.
They're not in a bunker, in your house. But
that was kind of like the view that you got coming up, especially like coming up 80s, 90s and stuff. Like homeschool kids were kind of like made fun of. Yeah,
they were weird. They were always portrayed as being weird and antisocial and not having social skills. And quite honestly, there's so many resources out there now in terms of homeschooling. It's almost overwhelming. And, there are co-ops, so you don't have to homeschool alone. You can homeschool with other families. So it's like you're creating your own little school, but you can be more involved as a parent, and you pick and choose who you want to homeschool with, kind of get a feel for how other parents parent. And if that's something that you agree with and that kind of thing. So it's like creating your own village. You get to pick and choose and create your own village, and you choose how to nurture your child. You choose how to teach them. You can, make it more so that it's hands-on teaching. Like, okay, today we're going to learn about X, Y, and Z, and we're going to the science museum. We're going to the art museum. We're going here, this place and that place, and it can be really amazing. And I think, here in California, there is probably more leeway than any other state I've really heard about in terms of homeschooling. You even get funding if you go through certain charter schools to buy supplies that you need to homeschool your child per year. So yeah, not to get too caught up on homeschooling, but
just talking about one of the kind of the roles that because of course after talking about homeschooling, the main question was, well, who's teaching them? And I mean, right. You already taught, but that, just because you're a teacher doesn't mean that you want to teach our son.
Right.
And you decided to take on that role, and doing that double/triple duty or whatever, doing the work at home as a mother and also teaching is a whole nother role to take on.
Right.
Which leads... go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. And I was just going to say, to kind of backtrack a little bit, the roles for us, we have worked through, we talked about and kind of come to this place where we have, I would say, very, very, very traditional roles. That's what we've chosen for our family. So I stay at home with Mikey. Michael works, so he's the breadwinner of the family. I am the main caregiver for Mikey. Of course, Michael helps, of course, but I am the main caregiver for Mikey. So, it's kind of a unspoken understood that, I fix his meals, I bathe him, dress him, and all that kind of stuff. And Michael helps, when I need help, or he just kind of sees I'm tired, which is fantastic. So a lot of times when he's like, okay, she's done, she's done. Why are you laughing so hard?
Because you be sleep. And I'd be like, oh, she ain't getting up.
Look, it's like that sometimes.
I'd be like, she ain't getting up, y'all. I'm like, Lil Mike, come on, let's get you some grapes or something. I don't know. Yo, all right, check it, right? So she does all the main cooking, right? So when her breakfast for Lil Mike be like eggs, and she be having little biscuits or something, or all kinds of nice things, right?
Michael's breakfast is you better eat this grape.
Look, no, hold up. I mean, I'll hit him with some grapes, maybe an orange or something, some blueberries, a cheese stick. I'll be like, look. But look,
no pods of protein, not a protein in sight.
It's protein in cheese sticks. It's protein in cheese sticks, right? One cheese stick. And then some grapes and blueberries. It gives them fiber and vitamin A. I don't know what's in there, but look,
you're just making up stuff. You're just naming nutrients that may or may not be included.
Fruits is good for your kid, all right? Because I'm like, it'll hold you down until lunchtime when I really have time to do something, because I also have to work. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm working from home. So I'm like, I have to get up in here. I got to take these calls. I got to do whatever. You know what I'm saying? Plus, you guys know I'm NERDSoul. I gotta make videos and stuff, so it's I got other things to do. This will tie you over. You know what I'm saying? Get you some juice. Drink
juice, milk,
juice. But give you a little something. So
yeah. So anyway.
Yeah.
So but anyway, yeah. So we have a more traditional a very traditional family in terms of that. So yeah.
Yeah. So another role that we decided on was basically following off this of Lisa staying at home. We initially came to this. Well, from my perspective, I'll say from my perspective, we came to this because at the time I had a job that made more money than Lisa's did. So because I'm more of a say Lisa, say if you get a job offering you $1 million a year tomorrow in some other city, guess what? We moving because you making $1 million a year. Guess who's staying at home? This guy, because you making $1 million a year. So that's kind of how I am. But there were a lot of times that we struggled with that role of me being at work and you being at home, because you were talking. There were a lot of times where you felt like you didn't bring value into the home.
Yeah, I was struggling with that because I've always worked. That's the thing. I've always worked since I was able to work at 16 years old. I've always worked, and I did struggle with that. I struggled with kind of giving up that life of going out and doing what I like to do in terms of in education and tutoring and curriculum writing and all of those kinds of things that I really, really loved, and just going out and making my own money too. That's something I really struggle. I still struggle with it a little bit, to be transparent. But But yeah, that was a struggle for me because I have always worked.
And I want to break that down when you're done.
I'll do that. Because I have always worked, but at the same time, I don't know if you remember, but when we were courting and talking about this whole thing, I did bring up the fact that I would love to stay home and take care of the kids when we had kids. I don't know how I thought that was going to work if I wanted to work and stay home, but you know. So yeah.
So I wanted to talk about two main things. One, you talking about the value, and when you brought it up, I started to notice because I remember this other young lady that we know. Her and her sister would get into it because she is someone who works and sends her daughter to like a daycare or whatever, or school or whatever, and then that woman's sister stays home with the kids. And there was this big beef. I was with them on like Thanksgiving or Christmas. There was this big beef between like, you're not a good enough mom because you don't stay home. And I never knew that beef existed between, I guess, work moms and home moms. And I don't know if that's the right term, but you know what I mean? Moms that stay at home and moms that work. And I didn't know there was a beef there. And Lisa brought up not feeling like she was bringing any value into the home. And I had to sit her down and be like, at least from a man's perspective, because a lot of times we don't see each other's sides because we don't get enough time to sit down and actually just relate to each other. And I sat her down and I was like, okay, look at what you do. You watch our child for one. So for one, you watch our child. How much is daycare a month? A month here in LA of daycare can easily be like $1,300 or something like that per month. And he's a little child that needs diapers, which is going to be even more expensive. There's nights when I work past 6 or something like that. So that's even more. So at least at the base level, at the very base level, you're bringing in $1,300 to $1,500 a month. Then not only are you doing that, you're also cooking meals for him and you're teaching him. How much would a nanny cost or a manny cost that also teaches and cooks? You know what I'm saying? So add that on there. And you also not only do that, but you clean up the home. You keep the home on point. So how much would that cost a month? When you come to that, you're making probably as much as me or bringing the same amount of value into the home as me, if not more. Because also in our roles, Lisa does the budget. So how much would it cost to have a monthly accountant or whatever to make sure your check goes in all the right places? You know what I'm saying? A lot of times I don't think mothers that stay home really look at the value they bring into the home like that. But for me, I'm like, yo, do you know how much? And then also the peace of mind that I have knowing whenever I'm anywhere to know that my son's fine. I ain't leave my son with no random person. And I know you guys have seen them videos where like a baby be at a daycare or something, a baby getting beat up and ain't nobody watching the baby. Guess what? I ain't gotta worry about that. Or baby get lost and they don't know where the baby at and the parent get there and they search around for the baby.
Leaving the baby in the van. That's happening and the baby dies. Guess what?
I don't have to worry about those things. So there's a huge intrinsic value on stay-at-home moms that I don't think that stay-at-home moms really champion and bolster and put on a pedestal. Not to say to brag, but to be like, hey, there is a huge value that I bring to the family.
Yeah.
And then when I broke that down to her, then you were like, oh, okay, kind of, I see what you mean. You know what I'm saying? Because at first I don't think she was like seeing how much she actually brings into the family in that role. And you know what I'm saying? Vice versa if I was doing it. You know what I'm saying? Because value is more than just the paper money that comes into the house. And I think we need to, as couples, realize that. But I did want to say a big shout out to Krista Quick. Krista Quick says traditional feminine roles are often undervalued in our society. The whole women's work stigma. Yeah, and I don't know, that was always weird to me, and probably because I was raised by a single mom. My mom did get married when I was a little older, but for a while it was just me and my mom. So I always saw mothers as like, yo, you do mad stuff. So why are you like, and when I saw those two arguing about one being at home and one not, I never knew that beef really existed, at least in some form. But then you did say something about having your own money. Mm-hmm. And you do tutor right now. You tutor and you do other like contract work.
Yeah.
Outside. But I remember we had a huge come to Jesus moment about money and about how money is spent and about Lisa not having her own money. And I remember
and you was like, I don't have my own money.
Yeah, I was like, and this is not to be funny, but I was like, I don't have my own money either. I was like, okay, we get the check. When we get the check, what's the first thing we pay? Rent. Guess what? Everybody uses that. So that's not mine. Next thing we pay, electricity. Everybody uses that. That's not mine either. So once we get down to like the last money that we can like chill with, we still split it because we all eating together, or we all going to order this together, or what. So it's like,
I remember that too because I was like, I don't have my own money. You looked around, you said, I don't have my own money.
I'm like, nobody. When you got a family, once you get married, ain't nobody got their own money. Like, I mean, the boy has got his own money, but for a while there was this thing that I didn't know that she had felt. That I'm sitting here like, yo, I'm just doing my thing, trying to, make it work, keep the house going, and she's over there thinking that I got my own money, and I'm like, I ain't got my own money. After rent, power, water, gas, diapers,
food.
Oh, also gas for the car and gas SoCal gas or whatever. After everything, where is my money at? But you know what I'm saying? Unless you really talk with each other, you never get to figure these things and feel these things out with each other. Especially when you have defined those roles but never discussed those roles.
Yeah.
Because my role was like, hey, you go to work, do work, make money, don't get fired. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Do not get fired. and
the thing is, y'all, with all the talking that we did beforehand, we still had conflict. So think about if you don't even touch on this, how much conflict you're going to have. You save yourself a lot. Of course there's going to be conflict. You're sharing your life with a person, you're sharing your space with someone for the first time. For both of us, we had never lived with anyone else before.
You've lived on your own. I lived on my own.
Huh?
You lived on your own. I lived on my own.
Yeah. And so, you're sharing your life, your finances, your space, your time, your everything, your whole life with this other person, and that takes a whole lot of getting used to. I mean, that's when they say the first year of marriage is rough, they ain't lying. They are not lying.
We fought. Okay, so we got engaged. And I'm from Virginia. I'm from VA. 2 up, 2 down. What up, Richmond? Hey, what up? 804. What up? So anyway, we're both from Richmond. So I'm out here in LA now. So when we got engaged, after your lease, you moved here, right?
Right. When my lease ended.
After your lease was up, you moved here, even though we weren't going to be married for another 7 months, something like that. You got here in November. We got married in May.
No, I got here in August.
Oh, I thought you got here later, but you're right. Okay, so got here August, married in May. So cool. That whole time, whoo, boy. Just trying to figure how to move my stuff out the way because I'm not living here alone no more. And in this case, we're not really defining roles, but defining the structure of the home. What's going to be where? How's it going to be? How's it going to look? And then also allowing myself to relax because Lisa will tell you, I'll keep it plain, won't I? I will keep it plain.
He's very...
Unless it's technology, unless it's like computers and mics and lights and all this, I will keep it plain.
He's very practical, everything is practical and functional. That's it.
That's it. That's it. But I understand that, Lisa needs things to have like a ambiance, a feng shui.
I want to make a home. A home.
I'm like, it is a home. We live here. But Lisa loves those things that I used to make fun of all the time.
Used to?
Well, okay, I still make fun of them a little bit, but I understand. You know what I'm saying? You need these things so the house looks, nice and it has decorations and stuff. Like that, all that stuff you get from like Pier 1 and like Home Goods, like that type of stuff. I don't ever buy that. All right. But I know Lisa needs to buy that so the house looks like, it looked like something. You know what I'm saying? So it got those little, like, those like the bowl, and there ain't nothing in the bowl but like unusable, like, I don't know, pine needles and stuff. That's stuff that like a house needs. I mean, I don't personally want it.
Unusable pine needles.
But I know Lisa, and I know, a house needs those things. You know what I'm saying? Nice, colorful things to like, stuff.
Or the floofity frilly. Like the frilly
stuff. But we had to decide on defining that structure, and me giving up all of that, like, it's gotta be my way, and giving that up and being like, yo, Lisa lives here, she want to have cool stuff that's nice, leave it alone, shut up and let her do her thing. And it took it. Whew.
Yeah,
and
for you to stop calling it your house. Oh my God.
Well, no.
Oh my God.
No, all right, so,
that used to kill me.
All right, so.
That used to kill me.
So, okay. Big shout out to Krista Quick. She says, you can express yourself in your home decoration like a writer might express themselves in their stories.
Yeah.
So,
thank you, Krista Quick.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, when I say my house, I just mean like, this is where I live. Like, yo, roll through to my house. I don't mean it like this is only my domain. That's how I've always used it. Even when I was living with my mother, like my little brother would say my house, even though we all live there, he'd just say, yo, this is my house, come to my house, or something like that. So when I say that, I don't mean that it's only my house and no one else's, but I have to realize that when Lisa hears that, what she hears is I'm saying this is my house and only my house. And that's not what I mean. So to make sure that I don't disrespect her, I try to make sure I don't say, even though I still say it from time to time because it's just, I said it all my life, but I try to also make it very clear to her that's not my intention. And I think you know that.
Yeah, and I just ignore it now. I don't, just
But
whatever.
I try not to say it like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't want, the last thing you want is for your mate, whether man or woman, to feel unwanted in their own home. You know what I'm saying? Because as her husband, I want her to feel as comfortable here. No, more comfortable here than anywhere else in the world. Like, this should be the place that she can come to feel safe. You know what I'm saying?
He did give me the whole bedroom closet, y'all. So that was nice.
Man, whole bedroom closet. Whole bedroom closet. I'm in a baby box now, y'all.
Yeah.
Baby box. But I gave you that because I was like, yo, I know ladies have more stuff.
I had more shoes then,
You got way more stuff than I
had more shoes. I got rid of a lot of my shoes. But when I came to visit you, we were dating.
Man, I was like, yo, you going to be here for like 5 days.
No, I was here for almost a month.
You were here for a while.
I was here for almost a month.
You were here for a while. It's true. Was that the time I made lobster?
He was putting his bid in hard.
I want to let her know, like, yo, look,
for us.
I want to be your man. So, with that, just even down to once you define your roles as, okay, I'm going to be out working, she's going to be in the home, then you also need to realize that the decision on most of the home stuff is going to be at the person who is home the most and the one who is taking care of the home. So right now, we're looking at homes. So one thing that I'm excited about is having a space for me. That's one thing I'm super excited about.
That he can tear up to be damned.
Why everything I have gotta be tore up?
No, I already know. It's gonna be like all kinds of fire code violations with cords going all over the place.
Oh, Lisa be hating them cords.
It ain't. Oh my God.
But
It ain't gonna be no decor. Not nary a piece of decor. It's gonna be dilapidated furniture.
Oh, man.
It's gonna smell like socks.
Now don't even front on me like that. Don't even front on me like that. Nah. I ain't gonna let you go there. You know I'll be keeping it fresh. I be keeping it fresh. Don't front.
I'm just saying, because it's gonna be a man space. You gonna have it all closed off because you're gonna be scared I'm gonna come in and decorate something.
but on the real, with that said, letting it be known that those decisions mostly need to go to the person that's at home, the person that's making the decisions for the house, which is mostly Lisa. And in this case, I had to realize that once I defined my role for being at work, then the role for taking care of the home could not also be me. Now, there's certain stuff where I'm like, all right, yo, come on, it's kind of crazy, right? I don't want this, but for the most part, Lisa's killing it, man. Like, any design stuff or decoration stuff, I'm like, yo, it looks nice. And me trying to front on it just because it's frilly, or I say it's frilly, is just me teasing her. In love. Mm-hmm. I love. I
don't pay you no mind.
But yes, all of that stuff. The most important is your relationship will continue to evolve, but continuing to define those roles and not let things go unsaid. For instance. If we were to ever move from here, say if we were to move to, we're in LA, say we move to, I don't know, Dallas, Texas. What are our roles here? Are they the same? Do they change? Did we move here because you got a job and I'm leaving my job and I'll stay home? It's a conversation. Defining your roles is a conversation that continues. It's something that is always ongoing. And it's a line of communication that you have to keep open, because when you don't, at times you have those blow-ups like you and I over like, I don't have my own money. I'm like, I don't have my own money. But yes, defining your roles are very important. And then lastly, defining our roles with our child. And even you guys with your child or children, or maybe you don't have children yet, you'll have to figure that out and make sure that you define that and continue to define it. Like, who is going to be the one that's feeding him most? Who's going to be the one that's going to be doing the teaching, the discipline, that kind of stuff. Those kind of things should be defined or continually defined, as you go on, because as your child grows, your child will change. Mikey's what, 2.5 now?
He's 2.5
so
as of today.
Yes, so NERDSoulite is 2.5. So 2.5, he is not the same child he was at 2 or at 1. He is changing. Some things need a little more pressure. Some things need a little more patience. Also, sometimes I need Lisa to be like, because it'd be sometimes when I'd be like, because the way I was raised, don't make me call your name all day. Don't make me tell you to do something.
And I have to be like, he's 2.
I know. And that's why you need that person to be able to be like, hey, chill. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm looking at it like, this boy looking at me dead in my face. You trying to challenge me?
And I'm like, he's 2.
You got something to prove?
What is your excuse?
I'm like, you got something to prove? Huh?
I'll turn to Bernie Mac and chop him in the throat in a second.
Put the toys up. But I also have to realize that, I want to raise my son in a way where he has discipline, has restraint, and that I am firm and fair with him. But I don't want to put what my father and maybe my father's father put into him into my child, which I'll talk about in a whole nother video about fatherhood, which would have been good for today. But I was thinking about it, and there was some emotions. I was like, I don't know if I'm ready to. We'll talk about fatherhood later. but I just want to make sure that even that I don't put negativity into this young, happy child. You know what I'm saying? I want this child to remain happy and stuff like that. So I do want to be firm, but I want to be fair, and I need Lisa to sometimes be like, you know what? Chill. Shouts to Panda. Panda said y'all should move, and probably within a few years, if what they say going to happen around 2032, give or take a few years.
Are you talking about California falling into the ocean or something?
Oh, California going to the ocean? Panda said he is challenging you, but that's what the children do. He's boundary testing because he feels safe. But that's typical. We're like, look, hey. I'll be like, look, boy, you hear me?
Like, he'll be like, yes.
But then when you do that fake get up, that's when
he get to moving. Then them little feet get to going.
You do that fake get up now, boy.
You go, okay.
Okay. So yes, defining those roles are extremely, extremely important in your relationship, in your marriage, and just remembering that it's a continuing state of discussion, and being open to one another about like, hey, I know we used to do it like this, but I want to do it like that now because blah, blah, blah. And being able to receive it. You might not want to change nothing, but maybe just chill. Like sometimes you got to be like, all right, maybe I'm bugging. Let me sit on this for a day or two. And you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes the initial shock might be like, I ain't changed that. And then, you know, you got to sit back and be like, all right, you know what? Let me ease up. I'll change. I can change that. I can give here this, or I can give that there, or, you know, things like that to make sure that everybody in the home is having a good time, to a certain degree.
Yeah.
So did you want to touch on your girl B Simone before we get out of here? B Simone.
Sure.
Girl B Simone. B Simone ain't hurt nobody. She ain't never did nothing to nobody.
I mean, because, you know, I was on the fence with the whole thing. Go ahead, set it up.
Okay, so, guys, you may have heard, B. Simone was, you know, kind of trending around for a while. She was on Nick Cannon's show, the popular Nick Cannon, and he was trying to set her up, and he asked for things that she was looking for a man, and she said she didn't want a man with a 9-to-5. She went on to further describe that man wouldn't be able to understand sort of like her lifestyle as an entrepreneur, as an influencer, as a mover and shaker in these streets. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it touched the nerve with a lot of people. And me, you guys kind of have a good sense on me. I'm always there for the working people. And I was like, yo, just because somebody got a 9-to-5 don't mean they can't understand what you do.
Right.
Like, it's not like you're not an astrophysicist. It's not like they got to do, like, why you shortchanging the people that's working a 9-to-5? But I'll give it to you, because I know you had a certain take on it.
Well, you know, I honestly was on the fence about it. You know, for me, I needed to hear her talk more about what she was really saying and what she was really thinking. Because to me, it depends on her true intent of saying, like, where is she really coming from with that? I didn't know if it was an issue of simply she's looking down upon someone who has an hourly job, or if it's a thing of, look, I live a life where I can kind of come and go. I'm in charge of me. I don't answer to, you know, anyone else. I don't punch anybody's clock. And I want someone else who can live that same lifestyle. You know, if I'm able to travel and go here and there and work here and there, I want someone else who can do the same. So, you know, I don't think we really got to really understand which position,
because she didn't really
which position she's taking. You know, if it's the last, you know, thing, if it's the issue of I just want someone who can come and go as I do, I can understand that. I mean, that's completely understandable. If you're living a lifestyle where you want to be able to travel, you want to kind of be in charge of you and have this kind of free lifestyle, well, you want someone who has the same if you're going to be sharing time with them. But if you're just downing someone who has an hourly job, you know, for whatever reason, that's not okay. You know, you can really, really miss out on finding a good mate, a really good person, you know, that believes in hard work and all of that, if you know, you're just biased for the sake of being biased.
Panda said, B. Simone said she was manifesting a man. All right, so I'll try to express where I was coming at from this, because we talked about this last night a little bit. My thing is, if you're not in a serious stage with someone, superficial, or what seems to me to be superficial gateways to a relationship aren't as important that I think we, in general, sometimes may think they are. You know, like, oh, I want someone who is an entrepreneur because a 9-to-5 person won't. I'm like, well, that's neither here nor there. You want, or like for me, I would want a woman. If I was looking for a woman, I wouldn't care where she works at all. What I'm looking for is, are you a liar? Are you a thief? Do you have character? Are you responsible? Are you respectable?
Can she work at the strip club? You say you don't care where she works.
Honestly, depending on the kind of person she is, if she works at the strip club,
she's a stripper.
If she works at the strip club, I'd have to have a discussion about it. If we were to get married, I would not want her to work at the strip club.
Well, then don't date her then. But
what I'm saying is, I'm not just going to immediately just say, because what I'm looking for is, I'm looking for a person that works for me. You know, sometimes, because our jobs change. You know, where I'm working at today may not be where I'm working at next year. You know, so if I'm basing it, say if I can't remember.
But it has to be based on the kind of job they said they want. If you meet somebody if you meet somebody and they say, look, I just want a good 9-to-5 with some good benefits so I can come and go. I'm not about this, you know, corporate life. I'm not about, you know, this starting a business. That's not me. I just want a good 9-to-5.
Okay.
That's not the person for her.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, sometimes we throw up these barriers that aren't as important in the long run. If you're looking for, and this is me coming from the point of looking for a mate. If you're looking for someone to just have some fun with,
it really don't matter.
That's not what I'm talking about. But if you're looking for someone who's going to be like your mate, sometimes I think we throw these like superficial barriers on one another that don't really matter when you're together for 5, 10, 15, 20, 40 years of marriage or whatever, or where you were working when we first met. Definitely not going, you know, it's just kind of one of those things that I'm not sure always translates into the person that can be a great mate for you. So that was one thing. And then the other thing I was thinking is, say this is definitely who she wants, that's cool, but that might not even work either, because when you're dealing, sometimes opposites attract for a reason. And sometimes when you're dealing with someone who has a very similar job to you, then both of you are kind of competing with your schedules. Because if this guy is an entrepreneur and he's always on the go, and you're an entrepreneur and you're always on the go, then you may not have the time for each other that you thought you might have, because being an entrepreneur does not guarantee free time. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, I mean,
especially depending on the level you're at.
Yeah.
Depending on who you are, you have people depending on you to make that money, whether it's going to meet venture capitalists or whatever deal you got to make to be able to pay for the staff that you have or whatever. So there's not always a guarantee of this kind of social media entrepreneur jet-setting Instagram lifestyle that I think a lot of people think that entrepreneurs live.
Well, they think that because that's the lifestyle they portray.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people with entrepreneur in their bio that might not be entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Well, you know, and then there are other things to consider too. You know, I mean, on the flip side of what you're saying, you have to be very careful with not signing up for someone's potential. You know, you have to find a balance between someone's potential and what they're doing right now. You know, you can't necessarily, like you said, assume that what they're doing now is what they will always do, but you can't assume that they won't be either.
Yeah.
So you can't say, oh, well, they might end up doing this, and they might. It's like you know, women do this a lot. We do this a lot, where we fall in love with a man's potential. You know, we you know, oh, he could be this and he could be that, and it's like he could be, but he ain't.
We have some new information coming in from Panda. Panda says, seriously, she said she was manifesting a man, someone who doesn't work a 9 to 5 and has an entrepreneurial mindset. She said he could be a drug dealer. She said she was speaking a husband into existence. She made a response video in her car. I don't think this explanation was any better. Why would you tell someone what you're manifesting?
Look, I don't know. Look, I'm, you know.
But with that said,
she was just a way to open up this conversation. Whatever.
It was basically, those were the angles we were coming at. I was like, you know,
I don't have a lot of patience for this kind of foolishness.
Because if you're looking for a real mate, and now she says she's looking for a husband. So if you're looking for a husband or looking for a wife, sometimes these, you know, like, oh, she has to be this tall, or she has to be this weight, or she has to work here, or maybe live here, or have this kind of hair. Sometimes that's not always, that's nice, and that's cool. But when you're looking for a person, for better or for worse, sometimes how tall she is isn't as important.
Right.
You know, and so those are the things that, you know, went through my mind. Or conversely, if you have a very similar job where your schedule is crazy and this person's schedule is crazy, then y'all might not even see each other anyway. Unless you just want that status to kind of be like the power couple that doesn't really even deal with each other in real life. So that's another thing as well, because there's been times when I've seen people in entertainment, and you'll see their mate, and they'll be like, their mate, what do they do? And they're like, oh, he's a professor. And it's like, that's it? It's like, yes, because she has a crazy job, so he needs a regular job, or he has a crazy job, because then it helps balance out, like, you know, that. So you never. Well,
you know, I don't think it's even that deep. As it helps balance. It's I met somebody that I like, and they happen to be a professor. I happen to be in the music industry, or, you know, in Hollywood or whatever, and it just works, you know. But I don't know. You know, like I said, it's one of those things where you have to kind of balance out. I think people get confused on what standards really are. You know, making, you know, one thing I've said before, that if, you know, in talking to young ladies who are dating, and I remember when I was in the singles ministry at St. Paul's, my church in Richmond, and I would tell ladies, I said, if you have made a list of what you want in a mate and what those, you know, certain strict things are, throw it away. I did. I said, throw it away. If you have sat down and taken the time to make this long list, throw it away, because that list is hindering you.
Wasn't there a movie about the list or something like that, where somebody had this crazy list?
I think so. But, you know, I always would say the things that are most important to you about what you want in a man are in your heart. You don't need a list to remind yourself what's important to you about the man you want to spend your life with. You know what I mean? That doesn't.
A guy had to make twice what she made.
Look, we've moved beyond the foolishness. I'm trying to go somewhere now.
Krista Quick said that was a Tyler Perry movie. Oh, okay, word.
But, you know, it's like, throw the list away. You know, you know what's important. You know that off the top of your head. It's ingrained in your mind. It's ingrained in your heart. You making this list is hindering you. It really is hindering you, and it's allowing you to hold on to petty, you know, superficial surface stuff. You know, and stop saying, well, I need to be married by this age. Look,
you don't know when you're gonna get married.
We make plans, and God goes, really now? That's interesting, because
oh man,
that ain't what I said.
Man plans and God laughs.
Yep.
Well, I guess lastly, I'll say Panda threw in here that she don't know what she wants. Look at her life. She stole everything she got. I can't imagine what her actual standards are for a mate. Oh wow, Panda funny on that Tyler Perry movie. Says he probably ended up with AIDS or something. That was remember? Didn't the girl Juicy Smoulier, his sister, was in a Tyler Perry movie? Right?
Was that a Tyler Perry movie?
Was it a Tyler Perry movie? I think that was a Tyler Perry movie.
He didn't show up in there.
He didn't? Maybe he was in there and we just missed him. I don't know if that was a Tyler Perry movie.
What was it called?
It was called like, I don't know. It was called like, I don't know. The girl got AIDS. I just remember that. There was a dude. He was a pharmacist. He worked at a pharmacy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
wasn't that Bud? No, that's not Bud.
No, that wasn't Bud. That was the dude that always be in other Tyler Perry stuff, like dark skinned brother.
He remind me of Bud.
He looked like Bud. Krista said, "Nah, the movie was about how the list was bad." All right, but I know there's a movie with Juicy Smollier's sister. Look, hold up, what is it?
Temptation. Krista Quick said Temptation.
Temptation. Yeah. That's what it is. I knew it. He was a pharmacist. And he was just chilling, but he was a pharmacist. And she worked at a job. It was like a ritzy job. And there was this other dark skinned brother. He had like mad money, right? And he like flew on a jet and stuff. And she was like, "Oh man, I love this."
Okay.
And then basically he gave her AIDS. The end.
Okay.
I mean, this is a sort of good movie. I mean, it's if you have a Saturday afternoon to check it, it's whatever. So with that said, guys, thank you.
Oh yeah, the movie she was talking about, Tiffany Haddish and Tika Sumpter. You know what?
Oh,
yes, and
that movie was kind of funny too.
It actually was good because when I first saw it, I was like, I ain't watching this. But then I watched it. I was like, you know what? I kind of liked it. I kind of liked it.
And Tika Sumpter in person, Tika Sumpter is actually pretty cool. So for now,
you mean Candy?
Oh yeah, I forgot Candy. Didn't she kill a dude like in her own kitchen or something? And like dude was just there forever and
then her brother came and buried him in her backyard.
Don't even get me started. Anyway, guys, thank you for coming through. Before we bounce, big shout out to Panda, big shout out to Jamal Lee, big shout out to Krista Quick. Let's see. I think I might have everybody. So thank you for coming through. I know there's some guys watching that ain't in the chat, but much love to y'all as well. Before we get out, Lisa, say peace.
Bye, y'all.
So guys, NERD, SOUL, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all in places, podcast, Spotify music, all that jazz. It's fun having you guys come through. Thank you for chilling with us. Until next time, which will probably be tomorrow, we'll be talking about some more comic book stuff. We'll be having a pretty good time. And this week we'll get into some more movie stuff too, because and Mortal Kombat 11. Got to talk about that. So, guys, from us to you, thank you for chilling. And we're going to leave y'all with, of course, the man, the myth, Arcatron. But from us to you, we're just saying thank you for coming through. And, of course, peace.
Peace.
Peace. Peace. Peace. Peace. Peace. Peace. We out.
Bye.